and down the cover goes again. Time lapse. Oh, my back! When most people think of a charcoal grill, they're gonna relate it to hot dogs and hamburgers. What we're doing with the Spark Grill is totally different. These are probably not recipes that you've thought of doing on the grill. I think it's time to create some new traditions in grilling. Hi, my name is Chef Heather Carr, and today we're gonna be making grilled sweet potatoes with a zesty cilantro zhoug. The cilantro zhoug sauce that we're gonna be adding to the sweet potatoes today comes from the country of Yemen. It is a delicious spice and heat-forward sauce to add to any dish. Normally you see sweet potatoes being boiled in a pot, sauteed in a pan, or even roasted in an oven, but grilling them at a high temperature like we are gonna today, and then dropping the temperature a little bit lower is gonna allow for extra caramelization, and it's almost gonna be like a sweet potato French fry. Your shopping list for today is gonna consist of sweet potatoes, fresh jalapenos, garlic, cumin, cardamom, salt, and the next ingredient is fresh cilantro, as well as some fresh microgreens if you have them available. You might be wondering what the difference between a sweet potato and a yam is, and the truth is it's based on where it's grown. Both yams and sweet potatoes are the same thing, so sweet potatoes are more commonly grown all over the world, whereas yams are very specific to the United States. The first thing that we're gonna be doing is prepping the sweet potato. So we're gonna start just by peeling it. If you don't have one of these Y peelers in your kitchen, you should really get one. It's much easier than your grandma's version of using the rusty old peeler. You want to have a really sharp chef's knife to work with, as well as a very sturdy cutting surface, because this is the most dangerous part of cooking this dish, is cutting them into planks. So I just cut the bottom and the top off, and then try and find the flattest point of the sweet potato, and do it a favor, and myself a favor, by just cutting a little bit off the bottom. And then I'm going to be cutting approximately a ½ inch in diameter. And you can see I'm using my knuckles to protect myself while I'm cutting an otherwise round object. These are gonna go right into the water to start getting some of the starch out of the potato. The next step is patting the sweet potatoes dry of water. We're gonna be adding oil before they go in the grill, and oil and water do not mix. So we're just using paper towels to get the excess water off. You're gonna notice that it's a little bit murky, and that's some of the starch being drawn out. The next step before going on the grill is just adding a little bit of blended oil on top of the sweet potatoes. And the final step is adding salt, which you season from the gods. And you season it at a high level so that the salt evenly spreads across each item. Today we're gonna be using the everyday grill brick, and we're gonna be using it at 2 different temperatures. First at 500 degrees, and then later on for 350 degrees. Now it's time to take it to the grill. We're gonna be cooking the sweet potatoes on each side for about 3 to 4 minutes, and rotating them in between for a total of 4 rotations. In between each turn, we're actually going to close the lid and keep the temperature circulating on the inside so that it stays at 500 the entire time that we're creating the crosshatches. I'm excited to cook the sweet potato today over charcoal, not only because of the flavor, but also the temperature control that I'm gonna be able to get with the Spark Grill. We're ready to rotate, so all I'm doing is, with my spatula, rotating it 90 degrees in whatever direction. You'll notice that I set my grill up with all the pieces going in the same direction so that someone like me can remember which way to lay them. Let's check. It's ready. So we're just starting the process over on the back side of the sweet potato for a nice even cook. And down the cover goes again. Time lapse. Oh, my back doesn't work like that anymore. After the 4th rotation, we're gonna turn this grill down to 350 degrees from 500. And this is when we're gonna be adding our jalapenos to the grill. We're gonna let the jalapenos roast at the same temperature as the sweet potatoes over the next 8 to 10 minutes for a complete roast of the jalapenos and finishing and caramelizing the cook on the sweet potato. Now that everything is done, it's time to get everything off of the grill. You just want to roast your jalapenos until you can get that skin to come off. The flavor is going to be perfect coming off the charcoal grill, but we're not going to be using the skin, so it's okay that it's a little charred. And now to make the sauce, grab a handful of the cilantro. I like to use a little bit of the stems, and I'll actually just shave with my sharp knife most of the stems off and lightly picking what is left over. And I'm going to bunch together my cilantro. And this is truly going to be a rough chop. I'm rocking the knife like this because it's very easy to bruise fresh green herbs, which is going to take away from their overall brightness. So you want very sharp cutting motions. Then we're going to peel the roasted jalapenos. You cut the top of the pepper off after you remove the skin, and then we're just going to make a slit down the middle so that we can get the seeds out. I'm removing the seeds right now because otherwise it's going to be incredibly spicy, and we already have a lot of heat in this dish based on the amount of peppers that we're putting into it. And then you begin to julienne the pepper. And julienning is just cutting into long, thin, even strips that we're going to rotate so that we can brunoise or mince, as most people know it, the peppers into bite-sized, small pieces that aren't going to be overpowering to your palate when you bite into this dish. We're going to add about 2 or 3 cloves worth of minced garlic. We got a little bit of our cumin and an even smaller amount of our cardamom. This makes the dish really unique and special tasting. And then our flaked Maldon salt. And then we're going to drizzle in our extra virgin olive oil, which has a much lower smoke point versus the blended oil that we use on the sweet potatoes on the grill. And now all you want to do is just gently combine, making sure that all of the dry ingredients are incorporated in with the oil. And there you have it, cilantro Zhoug. And now it's time to plate, my favorite part. Take the hot sweet potatoes that just came off the grill and stack them. And then you're going to slice them on a bias from edge to edge. You can beautifully arrange them. You can tell they're in nice small pieces. I like to do things that are mostly bite-sized. And we're going to finish by adding a little bit of a micro garnish. I only like to use garnishment that actually belongs in the dish, and since we're making a cilantro Zhoug, I decided to go with a micro cilantro, my little sweet potato wedge. The sweet potatoes are super sweet from the starch, converting to sugar on the grill at that lower temperature of 350. The zestiness and the spice level of the cilantro Zhoug really balances the sweetness of this dish. And the micro cilantro at the end of it, I think it's just that herbaceous finish that everybody is looking for. The best part, I think, is the charcoal smokiness that I'm getting. If you put this on a normal grill, you're gonna get a nice char flavor, but the overall smokiness that I'm getting from the brick is really the finishing bite to this dish.